Fireworks at a high-stakes Oval Office meeting. President Trump and top Democrats Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer clashing over border wall funding and avoiding a partial government shutdown in a heated face-off. Watch this.
And then we have the easy one, the wall. That'll be the one that will be the easiest of all. What do you think, Chuck? Maybe not?
It's called funding the government, Mr. President.
The Trump shutdown. You have the
what?
White House.
Did you say
Trump
Trump?
shutdown.
Oh.
You have the White House. You have the Senate. You have the House of Representatives. The fact is, you do not have the votes in the House.
Nancy, I do. And we need border security.
Nancy,
Nancy, we need border security. It's very simple.
Of course we do.
When you look at these numbers of the effectiveness of our border security, and when you look at the job that we're doing
You
with our
just said
military,
it is effective.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah, you just said it's
Without
effective.
a wall, the last time, Chuck, you shut it down.
No.
And then you opened
20
it up very
times.
quickly. And
20
I don't
times.
want to do what you did.
20 times
Chuck,
you have called for, I will shut down the government if I don't get my wool. None of us have said it.
You want to know something?
You've said
okay,
it.
you want to put that on
You've
my...
said it.
I'll take it. I am proud to shut down the government for border security, Chuck. I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down. I'm not going to blame you for it. The last time you shut it down, it didn't work. I will take the mantle of shutting down. And I'm going to shut it down for border
But we
security.
believe you.
Democrats pouncing on the president, saying he'd be proud to shut down the government over the border wall, but he's refusing to back down.
I don't mind having the issue of border security on my side. If we have to close down the country over border security, I actually like that in terms of an issue. I mean, Chuck's problem is that, you know, when we last closed down, that was his idea. And honestly, he got killed. And so he doesn't want to own it. And I said, you know what, rather than us debating who's owning it, I'll take it. I'll take it. If we close down the country, I will take it.
Switch seats with Mark.
All right. Okay, so, Jesse, the meeting was mostly show. No matter what, right? Because it's
that was all substance, Dana.
But interesting, both sides feel like it could not have gone better for them.
Well, yeah, I guess if you're a Democrat, you say Trump now has taken full responsibility for the Trump shutdown. And if you're Trump, you look at that video and you think, I just manhandled these two people on live television, and they look like complete buffoons. If you just look at the body language there, he was cutting them off. He was holding up pieces of paper. Nancy, Nancy, Nancy. Chuck's sitting there like a weakling. Nancy's getting interrupted the whole time.
This is what I mean.
It was an extraordinary physical performance. Yeah. At the end of the day, though, if you take no, I mean, look, on a debate stage, he did the same thing with Hillary. But these are two weaker people, and he, basically tag teamed both of them until they look like blithering idiots. At the end of the day, though, he says, I'm shutting this down for border security, and I don't care if I take the heat. This is the last chance he's ever going to have to get the wall funding. It's either do or die. He's not going to get it in the next 2 years, and he may not get it in the next 6. He has to go to the mattress on this. He has to own the issue, and if he doesn't get it, his supporters are going to show up in the general and say, you know what, you had 4 years to build the wall and we didn't bring it together.
That point,
what's that about?
To that point, Greg, there was a NPR Marist poll today.
Oh, I love it when you bring those up.
There was a chart.
A chart even?
Yes.
Tell me more about this said
said,
chart. Yes.
When they asked Republicans, should he compromise on the wall funding in order to avoid a shutdown, 65% of the Republicans said do not compromise.
Yeah, there you go.
He's got that on his side, but then, of course, there was other parts of the poll that support the Democrats.
Can you just pull up that picture again of the group discussing this? We're missing the biggest story here, which is Pence, who has been cryogenically frozen.
Pence was there?
Yes, he was actually.
I didn't see him.
They talk about they should have a body language expert do Pence right now because there's absolutely no body there. It's just pure animatronic.
Closed his eyes through a lot of it.
But that's exactly what I would do because I'm going, you know what? Staying out of this. This is great.
Not the Pence shutdown.
Yeah, I'm not involved. It's like, and also it's like I don't hang out with women who aren't my wife. I'm not getting involved. I'm staying out of trouble. But you know what the thing is? It encapsulates two things. One, why we hate tribal team sport politics, because believe it or not, there is a solution in front of them. You do this, I'll do that. We'll deal with DACA, you deal with the wall. There's a solution there, but they can't do it because even if they agree with what Trump is doing, they can't do it because it's Trump. They agree in their hearts that border security is important, but they can't admit it because then they would admit Trump. And the challenge here is for Trump is that he's always choosing the long-term benefit that creates short-term public relations nightmares. This makes him look mean. The shutdown makes him look mean, but the long-term win is enhanced border security, which is like national security, like law and order. He always takes the long-term vision, but he gets reamed over this stuff.
But actually, Juan, one of the things Pelosi said to the president is that you have majorities in the House and the Senate until next month. You have the presidency. You pass the $5 billion. You get it done. And apparently today, now there's talk on the Hill that the House Republicans might actually just try to pass that. And I thought, well, why didn't they just do that before?
I think that's what Nancy Pelosi was saying to him. And then he was coming back and saying, we don't have the votes in the Senate where they need 60, right. Dana. But so he was missing the point totally that he could, in fact, establish the baseline from which negotiations take place by having a vote among the Republican majority in the House. But I think it indicates that, the White House Legislative Office doesn't necessarily think they have the votes in the House right now. And that became apparent. I think, the president encouraged the hardliners in the Freedom Caucus basically today to say, unless it's got my wall, 100%, the $5 billion, don't go along with it. This is, and as you point out in that NPR poll, apparently a majority of the Trump party people say that's the case. I must say the rest of the poll was overwhelming in terms of Americans saying, hey, you know what,
but
we
if
don't
everyone,
need this.
Right, but if everyone, Morgan, was posturing today, this is the first meeting, it's the first one. I don't think all of them are going to be on television because you don't negotiate all your good stuff, in front of the cameras. Maybe they will. I don't know. We'll see. But what do you think? Where do you think it goes from here?
Well, I think the big winner today was Schumer's press secretary. I was a press secretary before, not as high profile as you, but Schumer kept going over and over again the same points, trying to make the point that it was the Trump shutdown. And when he finally got the president to say it, he had this Cheshire grin on his face, like he was so happy that he got it out of there. But I actually love this press conference, and I think a lot of Americans did. And the reason why is because it was the thing that people liked about Bernie and about Trump, no matter what party you came from. It's this ultimate disrupting politics. Instead of everyone getting in front of the press conference, in front of the press, and pretending like they all get along and like each other, they all just sort of threw it out there. It was like WWE. It was nasty. It was disruptive. But I think that's actually good for politics. I think that's what our founders intended. They didn't intend for everyone to play nice. But I'll make
the founders wanted the wall. I think that was in the Federalist Papers.
It was.
Federalist 41.
Federalist 41.
Yeah,
they all said lock her up, but they didn't know what they meant.
But I must say, if it was WWE or let's say a boxing match and you were scoring, the idea is you said that he says this, I want a shutdown, I own it. I mean, nobody does that. Nobody.
That's why he won.
Because he doesn't think that shutting down the government is going to cause that much pain to regular people. The Democrats and the media become hysterical when there's a shutdown because they have to make it look like the government is so important to everyone's life when it really isn't. Also, one more thing. $5 billion in a budget that's what? Almost $4 trillion is nothing. It's symbolic, and that is what this is about.
Well, it seems to me that when he not only says it's going to be a Trump shutdown, but then admits Democrats want border security and have voted for border security, which is what he did, again, he undoes his talking points, Jesse. And when he talks about, people with disease are coming through, terrorists are coming through, all of it proven wrong, and yet he's sitting there spouting. People are like,
what's the Department of Homeland Security has verified those things. So
no, they have
I don't know what you're talking
about. State Department and Homeland Security say no evidence that any terrorists have come across that southern border. And in the drugs thing that you often cite,
terrorist-related people that have crossed the southern border. And Tijuana says there are diseases down there with the caravan.
That's ridiculous.
I'm not demonizing it, Juan. That's just a fact.
I tell you what, we're not spreading disease. We're spreading falsehoods.
But look it up on Google, people.
The bigger one is the drugs that you often cite. And again, he says drugs are coming through that southern border. And everybody says, no, in fact, most drugs come through legal ports of entry.
Well, you would know, Juan, because you sound like you're high right now.
Yeah, right.
But this always comes down to the bottom line, process versus chaos. Yeah. And so when he sits there and he comes off as the mean dad. We're going to have this wall, and I'm going to shut down. That's how a dad acts. They're the kids, and they're not taking the medicine. It always comes down to this. And last but not least, Chuck Schumer reminds me of the vintage penguin from the original Batman. Total Burgess Meredith. Just the way he looks.
Totally.
Which actually is a compliment.
Josh Dawsey of the Washington Post reported that after the meeting, the public meeting, that apparently President Trump told them that in the new NAFTA, Mexico will pay for the wall.
Oh, see?
And it could still happen.
Well, listen, the markets need calming today. They're pretty volatile after this announcement, especially with the China tariffs. But it actually sort of goes together. I mean, I think this president has shown that he's willing to take political hits, right? He's willing to take the tariff fight to China, take the IP fight to China and others. And so I can see why Democrats were happy that he took it today. But he's willing to take on the hard stuff.
I think Schumer said he had a temper tantrum. I think that's what it looked like.
All right.